Hey guys, I'm in my closet, and that can only mean one thing. We're going to talk about drugs. That came out way creepier than I wanted it to. Anyway, I'm Tiffany, and I'm a recovering drug addict with 7 years clean, which is a friggin' miracle because I couldn't go 7 seconds without doing drugs. Literally. You guys ask me questions all the time about addiction and recovery and stuff like that. I thought it would be cool to make a video for those people who are either still using and looking for a light at the end of the tunnel, or somebody who's in recovery and feeling stuck, or for the loved one of an addict who has no clue what the F is going on and just wants some insight. I have no degree in anything. Not even college, okay? Everything that I say is my opinion, my experience. Take it with a grain of salt. Same with anybody on the internet, really. Anything anybody says, take it with a grain of salt, because unless it's a rocket scientist, then maybe you could probably trust what they're saying. But anyway, one of the questions I get asked the most is, how the heck did you get clean? I ended up in jail and my world crashed around me. Everybody found out the terrible truth about the things that I had been doing, and I couldn't hide anymore. So it was in that jail when I was completely hopeless and had nothing to my name that I looked around and realized nobody was coming to save me, that it was up to me to save myself if I wanted to live. So I made the decision to go to a 6-month residential treatment program. It sounds daunting and it sounds like a long time, but honestly, I was using for 10 years. So spending 6 months trying to undo the 10 years of crap that I had been doing didn't seem like that much time. Besides, I couldn't fix my own brain. I tried over and over again. I needed to get help. Rehab taught me how to live a life without drugs, and then surrounding myself with the right people afterward helped me continue living life this way. And now all of my best friends in the whole world are in recovery, and we have fun, and we don't feel guilty or rob anybody's house. So I just realized I have so much dry shampoo on my shirt. Cool. Another question I get asked a lot is, do you have any advice for me? My loved one is addicted and I've lost all hope. If you have nothing, if you have no trust left, no respect left for that person, if you hold on to one thing for that person, let it be hope, okay? Because there's always hope. It's never too late to start over. If you love an addict, the best advice I could give you is to educate yourself. Nobody's born knowing how to love an addict. And when there's love involved and it's your child, it adds a whole different level of difficulty because you don't want that person to suffer. So you do things to help them, but you don't realize that by doing those things, you might be making it easier for them to continue using, and it's just a vicious cycle. I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty. Loving an addict is a very confusing and weird territory. And so my best advice would be find out how to love an addict in a healthy way. There's a very fine line between loving and enabling, and sometimes the line gets blurred and it's so confusing. And so getting help for yourself as the loved one is huge too. Another question I get asked a lot is, help me, I can't afford treatment. It makes no sense to me, honestly. If you were a drug addict like I was, you spent every single penny that you owned on drugs. So you don't have a lot of money. You certainly don't have $1,000 a day to get into a residential treatment program. And a lot of times your family's not going to fork over the money to help you because they've already given you everything they have. So what do? Think for a second about the things that you would do to cop your drugs. You would walk down the road barefoot. You would ride to your dealer's house on a flat tire. You would steal an airplane to fly it to your drug dealer's house if you had to get your drugs. So yes, it's difficult to find treatment, but you can't give up. Chase that treatment like you chased your high. I wish I could take credit for that, but a very wise owl before me in recovery told me that. Chase your recovery like you chased your drug. Get on the internet, find some grants. There's lots of places that offer free treatment, places that have sliding scales. Don't give up on yourself. None of us grew up wanting to turn into felons and drug addicts. That was never part of our plan, but here we are. So what do? We fight. I know that there's a lot of anger and hatred geared towards addicts. I get it. When we're in active addiction, we're not the best people. We make terrible choices, we break people's hearts, and leave a path of destruction in our wake. I don't blame anyone for feeling those feelings towards an addict. But what I will say is that the stigma of anger and the hatred and the judgment associated with addiction, while valid, is what keeps a lot of people too ashamed to come forward and admit their truth. I'm not saying run around and pat an addict on the back, coddle them, or tiptoe around them. What I am saying is what I always say: love goes so much further than hate. You don't have to love addicts, but you also don't have to kick them while they're down. And they are down. We are down. I was down. A life after addiction is possible. I'm telling you that from experience. I know what it's like to lose everybody in your life who ever loved you. I know what it's like to hate yourself and want to die. But I also know what it's like to get clean. If you love an addict, please don't give up on them. Love them from a distance if you have to, but don't give up. If you're an addict and you're struggling, reach out for help. If you start today, your life could look completely different a year from now. And if you're in recovery, you're a miracle, and I urge you to continue sharing your truth and helping those around you. The only way to see change is going to be to talk about it and bring the conversation to the forefront. And the more of us that do that, the more it'll ripple outward, and hopefully something will change.